there's a lot of people in what this trad conservative movement that's starting to develop on the internet that wants to reject what they call liberalism because of this idea that history is going somewhere. And I really recoil when they do that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I see Christianity as revealing that history is going somewhere. I mean, you look at the first wedding of miracle that Jesus performs, and it's a total repudiation of this classical view of history that the best years are behind us. The golden age is where we can just try to get a glimpse back at that, but we'll never get as good as the good old days and the golden age. That's the same conservative mistake that a lot of conservatives in trad world kind of make, is this idea of, if there's any idea of history going somewhere or progressing, you're falling into the mistake of humanism and liberalism. I'm like, I don't think so. I think those are just ripoffs of the original thing that Christianity brought to the world, which is this idea that, no, the best wine is yet to come. The best is yet to come. So history's moving somewhere towards that. And it's not a perfect, line, like a theme park. There's maybe it is like a roller coaster, because there's loop-de-loops where we go through a period of history where it's really declining for a while, and people living in that moment say, how in the world could you say that Christ is winning? It's like, well, dude, you're on a small loop-de-loop. That's a big ride ahead of you. It's going to go back up. Don't worry about it. You're not going to live for that part,
Forgive me, I got to say, God bless you. What a great insight, and it's absolutely accurate. I love the way you put it. One of the things, and again, this is a big thing for me, and if you don't mind me just kind of, let me digress for just a little bit.
Sure.
Because just speaking with a new friend about this yesterday, I have had a very low profile online up until recent, and there's a reason for that. And I'm only doing things now because, again, out of obedience. Because one of the things that I really feel, one of the things I know I need to speak with and speak to is this very thing that you're talking about. So I have to bring a warning. Because this section of people that you're speaking about, the rad trad thing, all this, right? I want to speak to these people, and I want to speak to them in a way of not finger wagging, because I understand where they're coming from, but I have to warn them, because what they don't understand is if they do not wake up and understand this principle of the world path, they will usher in a next wave of something even more insidious than the wokeism in which they're rejecting. The wokeism and the quote unquote wokes, it's even when you begin to subjugate people like that, that's part of the problem. That begins the process, right? It's a different type of dehumanizing, right? But these wokes and the absurdity that we've seen with the liberalism and all that stuff, yes, it's problematic, but what they don't understand is the way that the absurdity and the extreme aspect of that is moving them to another extreme, if you're following what I'm saying. Because the totalitarian movements that really do damage, right, they're very clean and they're very ordered. Hitler didn't fear the degenerates. He was disgusted by them. That's what people don't understand, right? And there's been a kind of, there's a misnomer that is put out there, and it's been put out there again because of so much of the last, 25, 30 plus years of certain liberal ideas.
Right.
Which, racism is about fear. All these things are about fear. And there's some truth to that, but really it's the thing you have to worry about is disgust. Because what will happen to people on the right who are rejecting, the deconstruction of the left, they will find themselves on this other extreme, and they will embody and they will give rise to the incarnation of an antichrist. The antichrist, this is something I like to say to people, the antichrist is not the 500-pound crack smoking black lesbian. That's not the antichrist. The antichrist is going to be everything that the people are pining for, the conservatives, because the conservatives are the ones who, if you will, understand what's needed to wield power, discipline, moral structure, right? All those things, which they're not bad. They're not bad, right? But the thing is very quickly, you can leave off and fall off the right side of the cliff if you're following me. So history is moving the eschaton. The eschaton is going to be glorious, and it is the coming of Christ is the end of history in some regard, but it's better to understand it as the culmination, the fulfillment of history, right? And history and time is abdicated in some degree, but in a better way of understanding it, it reaches its culmination, it's perfected, and it becomes something else, right? We are moving towards that. And there are things that have been understood. Like, listen, I try to get people to understand this. There's these people who, I'm a bit of an armchair historian. That was, my undergrad was first in that. And I try to tell people, like, yes, it's wonderful to love the Byzantine Empire. Yes, it's wonderful, but people don't understand the empire. God allowed the Byzantine Empire to fall for a reason. And I have to let people understand something very quickly. Not even an emperor, because an emperor wouldn't even bother with you. But, you could have a high-ranking vassal could come and just take your wife, have your eyes gouged out, your sons castrated, if not murdered. That could happen all the time, right? The brutality of ancient history, people want to conveniently forget these things, right? No, we have made progress in that sense.
Right.
But you have to keep attention there, because in the same way, we have also evolved into something terrible. We're seeing the height of that kind of evolution now.